A goofy movie. Thumbs down. Let's start the show. No, I'm joking. We are going to start with the person whose pick it is of this movie. She's been talking about this movie for months now. Believe me, behind the scenes, she's been wanting to do this movie. Tonight, we're going to find out, hopefully, why it is that this movie is so important to her to bring up and to introduce to you all. See the Superior. See, how are you doing?
Hi. Hold on. Let me fix our little thing here. So I picked this movie. Okay, as Jansen said, I've been trying to get us to do this movie for a couple months now. So we got to do a cartoon movie. We got to do a cartoon movie. And it just kept getting pushed back. And Chris actually beat me to the punch with the cartoon movie because he picked Baby's Kids.
Yeah.
But let the record reflect
that you did bring it up this one. Yeah. That's true. Now, backstage, he was in the shadows. I think he was a little shy, but he loves you all, ladies and gentlemen, and he's turned on the lights, and that's a Goof Troop fan. Sir, how are you doing?
Fantastic. This movie brought back a lot of memories, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight is going to be a good night. And don't hate, James. Don't start the show hating.
Oh, he's back in the shadows.
Oh, wait. I got to flip the lights. I'm sorry.
He's the international man of mystery on this show, ladies and gentlemen. You never know if he's going to like a movie / really like it. And last but not least, again, and tonight, remember, we have a double feature live for you. Why? Because we weren't here on Tuesday. But anyway, it's still for you. And it's double feature tonight. After this show of a Goofy movie, we're going to do Empire Strikes Back. And I bring you none other than the Emperor himself. Sir, how are you doing?
Doing quite well. I mean, I'm excited to be here. I feel like we haven't been on the air in like 3 weeks. You know, it just feels like such a long time. And we are starting it off with a bang, a Goofy movie. And why did I say with a bang? Because it's an anime movie. We don't really do anime movies. Can you believe it? But I don't know what you're saying right now, Willie. What are you saying? Eye to eye. What is that?
Those are songs from the movie.
Oh, it's a song for the movie. Okay, I usually blacked out when a song was playing in that movie. But hey,
there you go.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to us, Unpopular.Review on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our UPRE YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a spin-off channel strictly for entertainment. If you have not liked it or subscribed to it yet, shame on you. Hit that subscribe button because all of our entertainment exclusively will show up on that YouTube link. Let's get to the synopsis.
And by the way, before I jump in the synopsis, big thing popping. If you don't watch our Black Lightning review, we have a lot of celebrities, people from the show themselves retweeting us. So if they're watching it and they want to know what we think, why aren't you? But here's a synopsis for a Goofy movie, because that's what tonight's episode is about. Coming of age story of a boy who likes a girl, but lacks the confidence, to be comfortable in his own skin, and a father feeling estranged from a son he feels is growing up without him. That essentially is a synopsis for a Goofy movie, and you can believe me because my echo said so as well. Now, Kirsty, this was your pick. I allow you to go first. You started it a little bit about why you want to pick this movie. Is there anything else you would like to say?
Yes. Okay, so let me start by saying I have not seen this movie in years. Like, I don't even remember the last time I seen this movie. So much, it's been so long that I even forgot that there was like a whole bunch of songs in this movie. I remember like one or two. Like the Powerline song, I knew that one was in there, but then the On the Road song, I forgot completely until Goofy started singing. I was like, okay, stuff is coming back. I remember this. This movie is just really fun, and I remember it was when I was younger. It was so sad to me because the way Max was treating Goofy, I just felt like he was just being really like spoiled, and Goofy didn't deserve that because Goofy was just being like the best dad that he knew how to be, right? And that's probably what made the movie stick for me, was their, father-son dynamic. And it still holds up today for me. When I watched it, it was still that, that emotional, that connection there. So I really enjoyed the movie. And what's his name? Tevin Campbell. Great job as Powerline. I couldn't see anyone else singing these songs the way he sung it. Beautiful. And actually, when I was going back and watching the movie, right, I think in my mind I must have combined two different movies because I was thinking, weren't they in college or weren't they? But I'm thinking that might have been the second one.
Extremely Goofy movie. That's when he goes off to college. So it takes, I think that movie jumps time like maybe the end of summer, like a year or a couple of months in between.
Mhm.
When at the end of this movie, that he's talking,
Yeah,
that Max is singing about at the beginning of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
not the laugh. In the beginning scene, when he was, he's dreaming of Roxanne because that's his girl, the girl he wants to be his girl.
Mhm.
And of course, his biggest fear is turning into his father.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really well done how they did that. His teeth were growing. He was doing like the laugh, but she was, she was into it. She was digging the goofy in
Mhm.
him. But who would like to go next?
I'll jump in here if you don't mind.
Sure.
So I want to start where Chrissy just left off, that beginning scene, because as I said for the synopsis, I think personally that this movie is a coming of age, and obviously he's already in his teenage years, but especially the first quarter of this movie, and then you get sprinkles of it throughout, right? But it becomes truer to a romantic story with him and Roxanne, him trying to show her or keep his word that he knows Powerline, and then just have the courage to just go up to her and talk to her, right? But in the beginning, it's very much, it plays like a real life movie of coming of age would be, right? There's the awkwardness, the body awkwardness and everything like that. But the dream that Chrissy's talking about, of course, animators, they traditionally have done this where they'll put adult jokes. It didn't start with Shrek, for those who were just born in the last however many years, right? This is an old trope that animators would always do. They will put adult jokes into the cartoons, and the adults would get the joke, right? And the kids wouldn't get it until much later. Well, the opening of this movie starts with a wet dream. Now, I don't know if girls have a similar thing, just not a wet dream like that, but for boys at that age, that's very true. And so I liked, again, as I always say, I like the realism of it, that they would show that. And of course it ends in a random weird way. Oftentimes wet dreams end like that. They don't end in the, climactic cinemax of the 90s, right, so to speak. So for it to turn into a horror then, and then he's awkward about his body, it was very true to life, and I did appreciate the fact that they put that in there. And it continues even as he wakes up. He doesn't want his father to see him, even though his father's like, what are you talking about? You're my boy, you're always going to be my boy, I think he says towards the end of the movie. And that's something that fathers say, especially as fathers get older and their sons come into their own, or their children in general come into their own. They realize that their time in the sun is waning, so to speak, and somebody else has to take prominence. And that's the, I don't want to say the circle of life for obvious reasons that I'm going to get into later, but that's the normal progression of things, of life itself. And so I thought that was very true. For me, I haven't seen this movie. I want to say probably since the 90s. I saw it, I think, in the movie theater, and probably, when it came on TV thereafter, on the Disney Channel in the 90s, but or early 2000s, early. But the thing that I always remembered about this movie was the Powerline sequence. And there's two Powerline sequences I'll say. One is when he's pretending to be Powerline, right? In the beginning, during it's not even a talent show. In my memory, it was a talent show, but watching the movie today, it wasn't a talent show. He did that, like, here, look at me, and then I'm going to reveal myself, the big reveal to Roxanne, right? And then the actual performance that he manages to get to through, the mechanics of the movie and the script and everything like that. I will say, considering that he's a high school kid, he did a pretty good job as Powerline. And in a way, I kind of like that performance better than the, I'm not going to say the Tevin Campbell one, but the actual Powerline in the movie. And I thought it was really good. And I kind of was like, why are you shy after that? Because you nailed it, kid. You forget what everybody else is thinking. Look at the girl that you want. Her eyes are on you. She's smiling at you. She wants you. Won. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. But of course, he doesn't know that. He hasn't had that experience yet. And I was rooting for him to learn that. And also, as Chrissy said, for him to appreciate his father and not be ashamed. I never understood that when I would hear people say they were ashamed of their parents. I didn't come up that way, so it was foreign to me. And I would never want to understand that personally, because they sacrificed a lot to give me, whether it was a little or a lot that I had. And so out of respect, I would never be embarrassed of them. So I was like, you need to get over that, Max. And, time to man up. So I just want to say that about the movie itself. But who would like to go next? As you fight over the mic.
Okay. So this brought back a lot of memories because really now? Okay. Anyway, this brought back a lot of memories. I was very, very happy to see this movie because I remembered hey, here it is. There's money, there's power. All right, that's enough. Anyway,
and it's good that you saw that in the live because it won't be in the broadcast because we keep playing these copyrighted music that Rick loves to bring us.
Time is cut. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Anyway,
guess what? It's a new channel. All right, so we reset it.
Anyway, it brought back a lot of memories because I was a fan of that show.
Yeah.
I remember that show. Max was a little kid in that show.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a different take to Goof Troop. Everybody was excited about seeing this movie because now Max and Peach were teenagers, and we always saw them as kids in the cartoon. And everybody, like the entire cast, was just older. So a lot of us were very, very excited to see this movie. And it was great. It was hilarious, just everything. Yep. All goofy. Like, it was just great. And what I liked about it is just that, like, Max made this big deal about hiding his goofdom. And then every single time he was with Roxanne, it was just yep. And I'm just like, all right, you go through this whole thing, and mind you, at the end of the movie, that's the thing that she likes about it. So I just found this whole thing hilarious because what I loved about it more than anything is just basically the moral to the story is be yourself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was great.
Very true. Great moral of the story. Great moral for kids. Great family film. Great Father's Day film. Speaking of that, last Father's Day, well, not last Father's, a couple Father's Days ago, we were debating on what movie to watch, right? This is several Father's Days ago. I know nothing about it. And we were like, okay, Nemo, that's, everybody talks about Finding Nemo. That's a really good, like, Disney dad film. But, a Goofy movie is right up there for me. I really enjoyed this one. I'm trying to think, do I like it more than Nemo? I think Nemo is more flashy, but a Goofy movie is more close to my heart. I feel like Goofy movie is something that I really enjoyed as a child. So, but
I will put a Goofy movie over Nemo because when you get the father, it's almost usurped by Dory and her antics. Mm-hmm. Whereas this one, unless Pete Jr. or Pete are there, it's really the two of them. And whether there's friction or they're really connecting as father and son, you always have that dynamic. You know what I mean? There might be a little bit of ancillary, whereas in Nemo, there's so much going on. As you say, this too flashy. There's so much going on. I would even argue that The Lion King is a father and son more than Nemo, ironically, because the whole motivation is he wanted to be like his dad, and then him, after he's lied to and he believes he's the cause of his father's death, him not being worthy enough to step into his father's role, or as he still thinks his father's role. That to me is more of a father-son than Finding Nemo, ironically, even though the movie is about a father finding his son. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, a case could definitely be made. A case could be made. But go right ahead, the executive consultant. I believe you are the final to go.
All right, I just want to address a few things. The first thing I want to address is that I have to give a shout out to James here, See the Spirit, and Goof Troop fan. I haven't really been vocal about this today, nor did I really shout this out on the Unpopular Review channel. But 1 year ago today, we actually had our first episode of Unpopular Review Entertainment where we review Captain America. Now, James and See the Superior weren't signed on board yet. They came like a couple weeks after. But 1 week ago today, Goof Troop fan and myself, as well as Stephen Willie Beeman, actually reviewed Captain America. So it's been 1 year, one Popular Review Entertainment. It's been a really fun, very successful year. We started in the middle, right at the beginning, I should say, of a pandemic, and it really helped get us through there. So I wanted to say thank you for that. And I wanted to say, as far as this movie, I wanted to thank See the Superior. And just before you get your hopes up, it's not because you picked this movie, it's because you actually gave me a good line of how to start it. And what I mean by that is you said that you forgot about a lot of the songs. You watched this at a younger age and you forgot about a lot of the songs. I have to say that I watched this at a younger age and I completely forgot I watched this at a younger age until today because I blocked it out of my memory. Oh my gosh, man, a goofy movie. I see why they call it a goofy movie. You should have already known. When I say you, I mean anybody who knows the executive consultant should have already known how this was going to go down, right? And what I mean by that is you got me started by having a brat. We know how I feel about brats, right? I don't even know what the brat's name is. We'll call him Goofy Jr., right?
Max.
Goofy Jr. Pissing me off this entire movie. All upset. Giving back talk, giving that yakety yak, that lip game to his father. What his father says this, his father says that. And his father's a gump, right? That's what he is. Let's call him the truth. The father's the gump. He's a gump. He is a gump. Let me dad. He's a gump. There's only one person in this movie that I related to. It wasn't the principal. I couldn't stand the principal. Principal was stupid. He over-exaggerated. He doesn't know what's going on. Who? Yeah. Negative. How come y'all not on mute? How come y'all not on mute like I was on mute when it was y'all? But anyway, so it was Pete. It was the neighbor Pete. Why? Because he told Goofy about his kid, about his little snot-nosed bratty ass kid, right? Forgive me, algorithm. But told Goofy about it under your thumb. That's how you gotta treat these little brats nowadays. You saw what he was doing? Trying to act like his father was stupid and lead him to Los Angeles when his father was trying to get him to go on a nice vacation that he had to tell him he had to do, even though he kept giving him all that yakety yak. All that smackety smack. He should have been smackety smacked. I can't stand little snot. You know what reminded me of another movie? It reminded me of another movie. I think C picked it. It's called Jingle All the Way. A snot-nosed brat.
Another classic.
That classically, this is exactly what's wrong with today's kids because they grow up watching these movies and they think they got it all. They think they can. You know what? In my day, right? All that chit chat will get you hurt, right? But now, right? I don't care. You put Tom Fooey up. I don't care. Tom Fooey was this Max guy, Maximilian, right? Mm-hmm. Never trust a kid named Max. Never works. But
Max was a big name in the 90s. Golly, everybody's name was Max.
Everybody whose name was Max in the movie was a villain. All right, there's a reason for that. Yeah, go ahead. Fact check me. There's a reason for that because they're all spoiled little entitled brats. And that's all I saw. That was the theme of this movie. I want to go to Los Angeles. And what happens? A jerk, or whoever made that noise earlier, said, "Oh, I forgive you for all the smackety smack talk you gave me, all that yakety yak. I forgive you for wasting my gas to drive out here to Los Angeles. I forgive you for having me sleeping in my car with Bigfoot." Okay? Even though that wasn't his fault, but still, I'm blaming him too. He's a kid. But I forgive you for all that. I'm still going to take you to Los Angeles. No responsibility for the actions that he caused in this movie. Pissed me off. Mm-hmm. Hated it. Under the thumb was what it should have been taught. Because when you have a kid that's much of a brat, they need to be put under your thumb. Didn't like the Bigfoot scene. The only scene I liked in this movie,
Bigfoot dancing the Bee Gees was popping. What are you talking about? That was one of the hottest scenes of the movie. That shit had me rolling.
We apologize, algorithm. So the only scene I liked in this movie was when they were on the boat and Pete first gave him the advice of under the thumb. Mm-hmm. That, and then when he told him in the pool, like, "Hey, hate to tell you about your kid." And they tried to make it seem like he was so sneaky about it, like he was a bad person for telling, but he was doing the right thing. If my kid was having me thinking I'm going someplace and they taking me someplace else so they can impress a woman who wasn't even there, I would want James to tell me. I would want Goof Troop fan over here, proper name the way you're acting, to tell me. I would want you to tell me, see the superior. I would want one of y'all to tell me about my snot-nosed bratty kid. I will give you this, Gucci. I forgot about the scene with the Bee Gees because I like that song. I'll give you that. So 15 seconds, I was happy about the daggone Bigfoot. Other than that, somebody should have Bambied mommy to this guy. But whatever, all right? So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I think of the movie. I'll give you more of my thoughts during my final thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching our 1 year anniversary special. That's why we're doing a double header today. 1 year anniversary. Stay tuned. After this, you're going to find out during this commercial, you're going to find out what we're reviewing immediately after this movie and what we're going to review next Thursday. You're watching Unpopular Review. Thanks for joining us.
Luke Skywalker and Han Solo rescued the princess, destroyed the Death Star, but their story didn't end there. A big, new, sprawling space adventure in the Star Wars saga, The Empire Strikes Back.
So what are you saying? You can't buy love? That's a bit of a cliche, don't you think?
It's absolutely true.
Well, let's test the cliche. Suppose I were to offer you $1 million for one night with your wife.
David, I think you want me to do it.
Why do you want to do it?
No. But I would.
All right, and we are back. So moments after we end this episode, join us for Empire Strikes Back because we're going straight into that review. And next week, we're going to be talking about one of these movies, Indecent Proposal. Never seen it. I almost forgot we were doing this movie, actually. So I'm glad that the commercials are up.
Shameful.
But join us for that. It'll be fun.
Shameful.
But yeah, here we are, the best movie, a Goofy movie. And we're getting into our final thoughts.
Oh my goodness. Somebody didn't do the homework. They forgot. Indecent Proposal. My movie is next week. One of my favorite movies from the 90s. While y'all was sitting here watching people who need to be smacked, I was watching somebody get smacked in Indecent Proposal. And I can't wait to watch this movie next week. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. I have no idea I was a kid. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into our final thoughts. Who went first? Steve Superior, you want to take it? You want to start?
Sure. So again, I said it before, I love this movie. It's not something that I watch all the time. Again, like I said before, I haven't seen it in years, but it still holds a warm place in my heart. When I saw it again, it was just, it was just as good as I remembered. And I'm actually would like to go back and see the second movie because I also have some vague memories of that movie. Mm-hmm. And I want to just go back and kind of relive it and see what I remember and what I don't remember. But as far as the first movie, A Goofy Movie goes, I'm giving it a thumbs up, of course. Great movie. And who's going next? Vic?
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'll go next now. So now clearly, I'm very, very happy that Chrissy picked this movie. For a lot of reasons, and mind you, one of the things that made me smile the most is as soon as I heard and there's only one Pauly Shore. That was just great. I mean, I remember him at that time, and he was in everything. It just made me remember how popular this was. This thing was everywhere. And this movie, more than anything, was a money grab. And the next one after that was a money grab because this cartoon was everywhere. Goofy was just one of the funniest people. I loved it. I really did. I completely forgot that I saw this movie. Mind you, this was over 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So it was just great. I'm happy with it. I will show this to my kids. I really want to watch the TV show again because this was great. Like I want to see if I can binge. I wonder if they have it on Peacock. Maybe, but I clearly, I'm rambling, what I mean? But obviously, thanks, So now here's the thing, like Chris obviously wanted me to go, so now he can just shit on it really hard. But honestly, if you check it out, I think you're gonna love this movie, especially if you were a kid in the 90s. Thumbs up. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. I'm out with the top.
All right. So a little peek behind the curtain. I don't mind that they're unmuted. I actually like the back and forth. Is before I became a writer, and I say writer, of course I don't bring it up on the show. That would be crazy. Why would I do that? But before I started writing, I used to want to draw. That was my passion. That's how I cleared out my head and everything like that, right? This is a true story. And the studio that I wanted to work for was Disney, right? Goofy, Disney, you see the connection. And in 1998, I got to go, and that was my gift, 15th birthday, right? Hence when I said, be grateful to your parents, right? My mother took me down to Disney World and everything like that. And I'm geeking out. I'm a geek now, so I was geeking out then. And back then, and up until I think the early 2000s, they had two animation studios, right? One is the Burbank studio in California, and one is the Orlando studio, right? And so oftentimes Disney, and you'll notice this, especially if you came up in the 90s, you have like Return of Jafar, and you have these other Disney movies that come out like directly to VHS. Those are typically, not all the time, but typically done in the Florida studio, right? A famous one is that the big movie that Disney was working on back in the day in the 90s, in the new golden era, right? Or the modern era of Disney, is Pocahontas, right? That was the big one that they were working on. And if you look at the animation style and everything like that, it's very artistic. It's very, artsy, right? But also at the same time, in the other studio, they were working on The Lion King. And as it happened, The Lion King, up until Shrek, which I mentioned earlier, was the highest rated, the most profitable animated movie of all time up until Shrek, right? I forget who has it now. But I did want to be an animator, and that was my passion. And so, of course, I had to pull out some of my drawings that I used to do. And I just wanted to share some of
that's Pocahontas, right? Oh.
No, that's
Mulan.
From Mulan. That came out when I was in Disney. This is Marge Simpson there.
Marge.
Okay,
Dumbo. you kept all of these?
From Hercules.
Okay.
Sebastian.
Okay. How did you kept all of these?
And Eeyore. Oh yeah, I still have. I really wanted to be an animator when I was younger, and I tell the story, but Chris would make fun of me the same way I make fun of the way he rolled up the window on that guy. If I told you who got me into social justice and everything like that, he's dying to say something now, which I'm sure he will at a later point. But that point,
James used to have a little crush. James used to have a little crush. She would love to tell you about.
Yeah, she changed my life for the better. She was a great teacher. She's the epitome of when they talk about how teachers change your life. And she opened up my mind to the fact that I wasn't alone in thinking that the world was more than just making money, that my thoughts didn't make me crazy, that I actually had something to add to the tapestry of what we call humanity. And I'm grateful for it, and I love her for it. And I don't mean that in an amorous way, but in a grateful, reverential way. So she did change my life, Miss Murphy. If you ever watch this, I appreciate you. It doesn't matter. I don't care what Chris says. To this day, I appreciate you. I've always been strong enough not to give a damn what anybody else thought about me. My opinion of myself, second only to God. But I wanted to share those. So these are just some of them, but I have the whole thing of them. And I did want to be an animator. So, of course, what I'm going to give this classic 2D movie, which I love more than the 3D animation, it's a thumbs up for me.
Nice.
Oh, wow. It's my turn. All right. A few things I want to point out here. One, this movie got a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb.com. This movie cost $18 million to make, and it made $35 million. Now, some things I want to address. First thing, James, your most profitable animated movie of all time is still The Lion King.
Is it still?
It's still The Lion King.
Wow.
And I actually had a teacher that changed my life. A lot of people do not know this about me. I did not get to graduate high school with my senior year class. Okay. I actually failed a class. I failed religion because I was suspended my last 2 months of high school. All right, something, so I was suspended my last 2 months of high school and I failed. And I actually saw that teacher because they didn't let me walk. And I asked him, I said, hey, why did you not pass me? The class was religion, like, why didn't you pass me? And he said, I showed as much mercy on you as you show on others. So when he said that to me, I want to let Mr. Moore know, thank you so much. You changed my life, you dick. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and move on.
I learned Latin from that man that Chris is talking about, but it is his fault.
F him. He should have passed me. That was made no sense. I had to get to walk. I had to go to summer school for freaking religion. Okay,
that's what happens when you weren't under the thumb, right, Chris?
Whatever. Maybe I should have had Goofy as a teacher. Matter of fact, he was Goofy, but that's another personal thing. Let's talk about it. Goofy movie right here. This movie is a classic for some reason. A lot of people have fond memories of this movie. This guy was geeking out over this movie. She actually spent months and months and months trying to get us to review this movie, and I kept putting obstacles in her way over and over and over again. And like Mario and the Mushroom Kingdom, she kept hopping over it. This man is so inspired. He keeps showing us his pictures. Right now, I'm looking at the Seven Dwarfs. I'm in. I'm not going to say that. It's going to sound prejudiced. But the bottom line is, this movie had an impact on these three co-hosts, which is why they gave it a thumbs up. It also had an impact on me. It had an impact at the beginning, saying, why am I watching this movie? It had an impact on the middle when I said, is this movie done yet? It had an impact at the end when I said, thank God this movie is done. Thumbs up or thumbs down. I give this movie a thumbs down. I did not enjoy it. I would never watch it again. Thank God. Please give me an interesting animated movie. Thank you so much for watching this. Goof Troop, take us home.
Chris, wait. What was your favorite song in this movie?
Hold up. I got you. Hold up. I got you.
What?
I'm about to let you listen to it. You ready?
Get the heck out of here with that.
It was great. Pure silence. Let me catch up on some of these comments right here. Oh, it's the corn guy. Chris made a Mario reference. Nice. Chris hates joy. Extreme executive consultant looks goofy. Hey, let me show you what you look like. Hey, could you put that picture back up? Jay? We gotta go, guys. This is a long episode, and you got another movie to do. All right, Vic, go ahead and take us home. Once you amuse yourself, because you'll probably be doing it.
Don't forget. There we go.
Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night.